written by hand.
Yes.
Oh, it's so cute.
And it's in Afrikaans. Okay, we need to put, I was told this morning, probably about 40 times, remember to put the oven on first.
How did you learn to cook it?
Truthfully, I've never made this before. So this is the first time.
Look how nice it has grown.
Yes. It's doing well. I don't regret moving to Belgium. I have enjoyed it here. There has been difficult times, there has been tough times.
Like a feeling of home.
I love this pudding.
But it's so good, man. Hello everyone, I welcome you on the channel Cardamom Cookies, a show where its participants tell what helps them to stay connected to their family and friends when they live abroad. My guest today is Craig Sim.
Hello.
Hi, Craig.
I'm from South Africa. I have lived in Belgium with my wife now for the past 5 years. It was actually 5 years this past week. And we have a 7-month-old baby boy called Aiden. And he is the most beautiful baby boy ever, in my opinion. And so we're both from South Africa. We were born there, grew up there, lived there our whole life. Studied there, and we got an opportunity to move abroad. We worked together in South Africa and we took it.
How do you feel?
How do I feel? Excited.
So,
I'm making South African food.
That's actually really interesting because I'm looking here at the recipe which is written by hand. Again, by whom was it written?
My wife's god sister's mother-in-law. It's a family recipe that has sort of been passed through and down. And
That wasn't it my question. Why do we cook this dish and not something else?
because this dish, okay, it's called Malva pudding. It's one of the most South African dishes that you get in terms of pudding. But also, you can actually get all the ingredients here in Belgium. You don't need a specific South African ingredient, which is quite nice. So we can actually make it here with the normal ingredients that we get here. And it's really tasty. So I enjoy it.
What will we need?
We have milk, vinegar, there's an egg over here. Here is evaporated milk, some apricot jam. This actually comes through quite a lot in it. You can taste it quite heavily. This is basically just to spray the pan. Some vanilla powder. This is all in Afrikaans. So I've now got to translate it to English as I'm going along here. Sugar. This is baking powder. No, that's baking powder. This is cook soda. What's cook soda? I don't know what cook soda is in English.
Baking soda?
Baking soda, but this is baking powder and baking soda. I think, I don't know. And then here, what is this? Oh, it's butter.
How did it come to your family?
It's sort of, in South Africa, whenever there's a recipe that works, everyone sort of just shares it. You get some people which are a little bit more, don't want to share their recipes, but in general, most of the people share their recipes, and most of them, if you get one that works, because there's probably about 400 different recipes for Malva pudding. Each one uses, like for instance, this one uses vinegar. Some of them don't use vinegar. Some of them, in the end, they all taste 90% the same, but it's like chocolate cake. There's
Everyone has
many different recipes to make it.
Yeah.
So it's, I think it was just one that was in their family, and she tried it once and it was good, so she asked if, And in South Africa, a lot of people write their recipes down in recipe books. And like my wife's got a recipe book that she writes. Whenever she gets a recipe, she writes it down. And then it's quite special to her because everyone that, like if she, like say now you make something that she enjoys, she'll ask you to write the recipe. And then at the end, she'll like ask you to sign your name or something so that when she reads it, she actually sort of forms a connection with the person that's cooking it. It's actually it's her way of staying close to home and staying close to the family and all of that. So
Indeed.
that's
Indeed.
so she's got a whole bunch of recipes, and like my mom also gave her a recipe book which she typed, and it's got like an index, and it's quite an involved.
And in this book, it travels with you.
Yeah, that's currently at home. So she made 2 or 3, and she gave them of all the tried and trusted favorite recipes.
Okay, where do we start?
Okay, we need to put. I was told this morning, probably about 40 times, remember to put the oven on first.
Do you often cook South African cuisine?
We try to, yeah, because it's familiar and it's easy to make. But also it depends on what. Not all of the ingredients you can get here, because like for instance, you get a South African dish called peppermint crisp tart. It's made with peppermint chocolate. which you really struggle to find here. This is milk chocolate, but it's peppermint flavor chocolate, but it's like solid chocolate, not with the filling. So that would probably work, but it works better if you. So you can get that chocolate. There's a South African store in the Netherlands called Dispense. So sometimes we go there, not often, but sometimes, yeah, we go there and we buy a few things, and it's nice to actually just walk in there and sort of see the products that you remember from South Africa. So
What's the place name again?
Dispense.
And where
It's
is it?
in Amersfoort in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
It's about an hour and a half from here or so.
So there are no South African stores in Belgium.
There's one in Brugge, but it's a very small one, and it's a restaurant as well, so it's sort of like a side business. There used to be one online called South African Food Store, but they relocated to Dubai from the beginning of this year. So often, like when we come back from South Africa, we've got like a whole suitcase full of products, because like my wife also doesn't like Belgian mayonnaise. She likes the South African mayonnaise. It's more runny and it's more like tangy.
Okay.
The Belgian mayonnaise is very thick. She doesn't like that. So every time we come back from South Africa, she brings like 4 bottles of South African mayonnaise with her.
It's amazing.
Everyone says, you come from the country, you live in the country of mayonnaise, and you want
Like, what's wrong?
what's wrong with you?
No, but I understand. And like, there was a girl from Russia, and she also brought the mayonnaise from a Russian store, and she said it's a bit sweeter. I like it more.
Yeah. So, and like for instance, whenever I come, we get a biscuit there called Zoo biscuits. It's like it's a biscuit with like a candy topping on it, like a icing on top, but it's each one has got like the shape of an animal, and it's delicious. So yeah, I bring a lot of those. Salt and vinegar chips I always bring with me. Biltong we bring a lot of. Brandy we bring a lot of, because you don't really get brandy here. What else do we bring? It started off when we came back that we brought a whole lot back with us. Now it's actually becoming a little bit less and less and less, because yeah, I also, what I like about going to South Africa is I try not to bring so much stuff back anymore, because otherwise I get used to their products here, and then it's not special for me when I go back there.
How would you describe South Africa to someone who has never been to there?
It is a lovely country to visit as a tourist. It really is, because like now when we go visit, we visit as tourists. Okay, we see the family as well, but going to visit South Africa as a holiday destination is probably one of the nicest holidays you'll ever have, because the people are friendly. It offers a variety from, if you want to go and see wildlife and go to the Kruger Park, for example, you can do that. There's the sea, which is really nice to swim in. If you travel more towards Cape Town, there's wine farms that you can go visit, because South Africa is quite well known for its wine. Yeah, it offers basically something for every taste. Living there, that's a bit of a different story. Okay, now this needs to go in there for 30 minutes. It's a lovely country to visit as a tourist. Offers something for everything, for every person, to live there does come with its challenges. The country is not run properly, unfortunately. It's not run like it should be. Let's put it that way. It has the potential to be run properly, but there's just too many problems. My heart will always want to go back to South Africa. Will always want to go back and live there, but my head doesn't. And especially now having a baby, it's difficult, because you've got your family there, and I feel like I'm taking him away from his family, but I know it's better here for him. And it's difficult because I don't change much in a year. I look the same in December than I do now in January when we left. But he'll change a lot in the next year. So he'll go from when we left, he would just started sitting. So in the next year he'll be running around, and that's difficult, because all of these milestones they miss. They don't get to see it. So it's difficult. It's really difficult to live abroad and to have no family here. But that being said, it's a choice we made, and yeah, where does our future lie? I don't know. I'll always want to go back, but I need to listen to my head as well. So I'm glad that this happened because I could actually then travel around Europe. And in our first year here, we said that we're going to do 12 countries in 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it. Every single month we went to a different country in Europe. And I'm very glad we did because the next year COVID happened. And then we couldn't go anywhere. So, and we collect shot glasses from every city we go to. So if you look at our shot glass collection, the first year is like this much. Second year was like this much, and then third year we grew a little bit.
What do you miss the most from South Africa?
My family. The food, I miss the food, but I miss on weekends being able to actually just go to a family member and have a braai, or it's one thing, especially now with the child. I noticed that it becomes very, very difficult not having a support structure here. So I would say of everything in South Africa, I miss my family. And that's always my argument to when we say we miss South Africa. I say, do you miss South Africa or do you miss your family? You know, because if my family was in Spain, would I still miss South Africa or would I miss Spain?
And what do you do then when you miss them?
Eat South African food.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah, we either phone them or I try to do something to take my mind off it.
If you crave for national cuisine, is it difficult to find a store or a place where you can eat it, or restaurant?
You mean a South African? There's a South African restaurant actually in Brugge. They make all kinds of South African foods. But other than that, we normally, if we buy boerewors, there's a website called boerewors.be. Boerewors is like a South African sausage.
Boerenworst.
Yeah, but it's very different to boerenworst.
What is different between Belgian boerenworst and the South African?
South African one is thicker.
Okay.
And I don't know what's in that sausage. I don't want to know. It's one of those sausages.
And South African sausage, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah. If I look at it, so like for instance, this is what. Boerewors. So this is what South Africa boerewors looks like.
Yeah, well, Belgian often looks the same.
Yeah, so that's South African boerewors.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then you put it on, and then you eat it on a bun like a hot dog, and then you put tomato sauce on it. It's really delicious. So
Next time we should make that one.
Yes, I was actually going to make that, but we don't have any at home, and that you can't. You need a specific machine to make it.
I see.
Because you need to put the stuff in the machine, and the machine closes each one off.
Yeah, I understand what kind of.
So we actually, we still need to buy. It's a South African lady that makes it, so I actually need to buy it, but I just haven't yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So I actually wanted to make, because that is super easy to make. You can either put it in the air fryer or on a pan or on a braai or.
On a braai.
Yeah, on a braai is the best. But
I think that's one of the things which you also miss a lot.
Yeah. That's why when.
But also because of the culture around it.
In South Africa, it's one thing I noticed as well. When we get invited here to a braai, everyone is sort of inside. Then whoever's braai will go outside, prepare the meat, and come back in. In South Africa, everyone goes outside and stands around the fire. And everyone stands there, and then you'll come inside, get a drink, go back and stand by the fire.
Yeah, and you're always communicating, and there is literally a warmth of the fire. And
everyone there has fires like a braai inside their house. The braai is, so in South Africa, in South Africa, you get invited to a braai. It's like the whole event is the braai.
Mm-hmm.
And people braai for everything. And you can like buy little braais, and you're around the beach, and you get little lap braais if you want. Aha, okay.
Looks very cool.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I never cooked something like that.
I hope it comes out well.
The fact that you moved with your wife, did it help you to adjust to Belgium? Does it help you too?
It does, because I found that on days when I was sad, she was happy, and on days when I was happy, she was sad. So we were sort of like each other's support structure.
Mm-hmm.
And it really helped moving with someone who understood
What you're going through.
what we're going through. And it really helped. And once I actually started learning the language, it became a whole lot easier.
Yeah, of course.
Because being able to phone a dentist and something like that, or being able to go to a doctor or anything, it just becomes easier.
And what
So-
helped you to learn the language?
Well, the fact that I speak Afrikaans helped. But I would say also, for us, it was a respect thing as well. I said to my wife, you are, or not you, us, we are in the country of the Belgians. I can't expect them to speak English to me forever. Obviously, in the beginning, when you arrive, you can't speak it, fine. But I said, we need to learn the language. Because if I'm here, to me, it's a respect thing. I cannot expect someone in their country to speak English to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you going to South Africa and speaking Russian to them and expecting them to. It's not going to happen. So that definitely helped us to learn Dutch. That we just said, we have to learn it. We want to learn it.
Can I ask you to say something in English, in Dutch, and Afrikaans, just to check it out? Wait.
Okay.
We cooked today Malva pudding.
Malva pudding, yes. Yeah, it's a Malva pudding. We cooked it today. It is typically South African. In Dutch, you'll say, dit is Malva pudding. Wij hebben het vandaag gekoken. Het is typisch Zuid-Afrikaans. In Afrikaans, you'll say, hierdie is Malva pudding. Ons het het vandaag gekookt. Dit komt typisch van Zuid-Afrika.
There is almost no difference.
There is almost no difference. So, yeah.
Of course, then you probably learn Dutch faster than, as a South African, you learn it faster than...
Yeah, because I could also understand words a lot easier.
Yes.
Also, what helped is I started listening to Dutch radio when we got here. Driving in the car, I would listen to the news. And that subconsciously, constantly hearing it helps. So I just made it the mindset that we have to learn the language. I will always be South African, but as long as I live here, I am Belgian. I don't regret moving to Belgium. I've actually enjoyed the 5 years. I've enjoyed everything Belgium has brought. It's still an adventure for me whenever I drive somewhere that I've never driven before, and I go, this is so new, this is so cool, I drive through the area and I look at the houses and I look at the people and
It's very interesting, true.
Yeah, so to me, I still feel like I'm on an adventure. I don't look at Europe with the same like wowness because I've lived here for 5 years. So like for instance, if we go to Antwerp and we see the cathedral, I've seen it.
The first time you
The first time I was like, wow. The second time I was like, wow. The third time, fourth time, you're like, okay, it's a cathedral. Whereas now, the families come and like, wow, it's a cathedral. Like, oh yes, there's a cathedral.
Have you had any funny situations in Belgium because of the cultural difference?
Yes.
Tell me.
Yes. So, in Belgium, comfortable in Dutch, comfortable is comfortable. Easy is gemakkelijk.
Gemakkelijk.
Okay. In Afrikaans, comfortable is gemakkelijk. Yeah. Easy is makkelijk. Comfortable doesn't exist in Afrikaans. So the one time I was still busy learning Dutch, and I was sitting and we were auditing a company, and the one girl walked in and she sat down, but she was struggling to sort of set herself up and all of that. So I asked her in Dutch, ben jy gemakkelijk? Because I wanted to ask, are you comfortable? Because if she wasn't, I was going to offer her a chair or bring her a
Yes,
chair.
indeed.
And she like looked at me and she's like, what? And I was like, are you comfortable?
Yeah.
And she said, that's comfortable. I was like, what? And I actually asked her, are you easy? And it was, then I realized, oh, okay. So
Okay.
something like that was and I was like, I'm really sorry, that's not what I was asking. I wanted to know, was she comfortable? And after that, I always remembered, okay, it's comfortable. So that's how I then learned that it's comfortable, not. Also, a big cultural difference that I noticed here is like when people send emails. In South Africa, you normally go, hi, Craig, or good morning, or whatever. In Belgium, it's nothing funny the person to just say, Craig, and then start the mail. Now, in South Africa, normally if someone just says, Craig, and then starts the mail, it's normally a mail where you've done something wrong or you've...
It's very formal.
Yes. So when I got you, and all the mails just like, Craig, and I'm like, what have I done wrong? And then you've actually done nothing wrong. It's just how they address an email.
Looking back now to the moment when you just moved, what would you advise to yourself and to your wife back then?
Don't plan too far ahead. Because our plans changed so many times in the past 5 years. When we arrived in Belgium, the plan was to only come to Belgium for 2 years. And then 2 years became 3 years. 3 years became 5 years. And now, I don't know how long. So there's no plans to go back to South Africa. And it's also something that COVID taught us. You've got all these plans that you want to do this and you want to do that and just don't plan too far ahead. You can't plan what you're going to do. If I have a look at last year, October, we lived in Hart. Aiden was starting at a school. Because he started the end of October. He was starting at a school. I worked at Manashar, everything. And all of a sudden, within 2 weeks, they had a staff shortage, or the one teacher resigned at his school, and another one fell pregnant. So they decided to close the baby class. And they let us know it was a Wednesday. The Wednesday afternoon, we got an email saying that they're closing the baby class from Monday. So, and I don't know if you've ever had to try find daycare in Belgium. It's difficult. And
I heard that you have to stand in a queue like a
you
couple of years in advance. If you get pregnant, first if you plan to go pregnant, go to stand.
It's basically, we found out on the Friday Bianca was pregnant. The Monday we had daycare. And they could only help us from October, so it was a year. Other places said they can only help us from January this year when she fell pregnant. So
at the moment when they announced that the daycare is being closed, someone had to leave your working place because someone
That's
has to
exactly it. So, and all of a sudden I phoned Bianca and I said to her, but we need to find a new daycare by Monday. It's like 4 days. Today's Wednesday.
And normally it takes a year.
And every place we phoned said we can only help you from next year. Like the one place even said we can only help you from 2025. And so I was really worried. What are we going to do? Where are we going to send him to school? And our church has a daycare. So I phoned, or Bianca phoned them and said, listen, by any chance, can you help us, even if it's just to January? And even if it's from January, we can make a plan. Because we were actually then having a look at flying Bianca's mom here for a month just to look after Aiden. They then said to us, they've got one place in their daycare, but it's like a reserve place in case someone actually needs to come for the day. But they understand our situation, so Aiden can have that reserve place. So,
that's a very big relief.
So then we were going from Hart every day to Hoboken, where his daycare is, and then I was going to Manashar. And then I was going back to pick him up, or Bianca was going back to pick him up. And the traveling was just getting way too much. So that's why we then ended up moving. But going back to the thing about not planning too far in advance, if I have a look at last year, beginning of November, I worked at Manashar. Aiden was in a daycare that was a fixed daycare, and we lived in our house there. And I had just had, because I got my electric car last year, October, so I had the car charger installed at home. Within a week, his daycare changed. We decided we're going to move. I left Manashar, and I now sat with a charger at the old house that I needed to, and none of that was planned.
So don't plan too much.
My whole life changed within a week. And if I look at now, if I look at, let's say April now, I'll be at a new company Okay, I eventually managed to sort out the charging station. Aiden's in a new daycare and we're in a new house. Every single thing just about in my life is different within 4 months. And none of it was planned. We didn't plan to move. We were quite happy there. Everything was okay. It came out well.
Oh, it's
Very
amazing.
nice, eh? I struggle with dry food, so that's what I like about this as well. It's quite juicy and it's saucy and it's...
It's amazing. I love South Africa, it seems. I'm so curious about our dish now. I couldn't resist to let Vincent, my boyfriend, taste it.
It's very good.
And you can actually make it from everything you find in Belgium, which is actually quite nice.
If you're a foreigner, if you live abroad, if you live in Belgium, and you would like to tell about your experience of living abroad, if you would like to cook your national dish together and to tell the world about your national cuisine, please send me a message to cardamom.cookies@gmail.com. Follow this channel, like this video, and stay tuned to get new stories. Another thing,
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, yes.
like and subscribe. Is there something in Belgium that you still cannot understand?
Taxes.